Beastmaster over on HeflaTV 2, and it's One Faith going up against champions of Summer's Rift here. Summer's Rift having a little bit of a bump in the road up against BDAB in their round of 32, but now we're into the round of 16 where it gets down to the nitty-gritty. And it's going to be a little bit taller challenges for BSJ and Demon and crew. But they've been looking pretty damn good. I feel like it was just a bit of a misstep in the draft last game that brought it pretty close. But either way, they're able to overwhelm HFN and BDAB when all is said and done. And they'll continue to move forward here as we chronicle their journey in the open qualifiers. So thanks again for joining me, guys. Maurice, please, your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster. One Faith versus champions of Summer's Rift. Summer's Rift going to opt for the Beastmaster ban in Phase 1 here. Caused them a little bit of trouble with their Dragon Fist Queen of Pain. Last game forced her into a pretty defensive build, which otherwise could have been something a little bit more aggressive. But either way, they're going to ban the Undying as well. And the Wisp Gyro going to be taken out by One Faith. Interestingly enough, that was the exact bans taken out by Summer's Rift in their last game. So they're going to pick up the Visage. This is actually the first time today we've seen the Visage slip through the first phase of bans from both teams. So certainly it seems warranted, as the Summer's Rift squad going to grab that up in the first position here. And as we move forward, we'll see if they're able to look as sharp as they did in the previous game. BSJ on the PL hadn't looked as scary as he usually did up against the Anti-Mage, but Winter Wyvern pick going to come out for One Faith here, and very interesting pickup for them, especially up against all the physical coming out from the familiars. A Cold Embrace going to be a nice tool for them to save some of their cores if need be. Of course, there's still the magical damage from the Soul Assumption available to that Visage, but Winter Wyvern going to make it all the more difficult to bring down some of these heroes over on One Faith's side. And we've certainly seen the power of that Winter Wyvern more recently in the Tier 1 scene. So we'll see how it fares in this open qualifier here, and we'll see if Summer's Rift is prepared to see something like this. Invoker picked up this early on, also a little bit odd for One Faith. Not sure if they have someone who plays this all that often. I recognize a couple names here. Frost, certainly a hero I've seen. IMG, I'm guessing was formerly of IMG, the Chinese team, but either way, Drow pickup comes out for Summer's Rift. That's going to be BSJ's hero in all likelihood. Maybe Dragon Fist takes it towards that mid lane, but in all likelihood, we will see the Drow in the capable hands of Banana Slam Jamma. This is one of the heroes he's been trying to slowly add to his hero pool, to some success for sure, but he definitely hasn't looked BSJ-esque on the Drow as he does on, say, a Slark. So we'll see how he fares there. 2 games ago, did pick this up against the team in the round of 64 that they faced. The brackets up in chat for you guys, and they will opt to go for it again here. Drow Visage for obvious reasons. Very strong combo with the Precision Aura active available to them to commit some split pushing. But as we mentioned, some good ways to deal with the split piece thus far. The Invoker probably going to be Quaswex in this one. You usually do see Quaswex up against a Drow Ranger because you want to be able to get into her face, and that Ghost Walk Orchid combo into a Tornado EMP is certainly something capable of doing that for the Drow Ranger. It's also a lot harder to get gusted up by that Drow when you're initiating from under the cover of invisibility. So expect Quaswex here. Could be Quas Exort, but probably the less likely of the two. And Visage or Vengeful Spirit can be banned out by One Faith here. Broodmother once again taken out, by Summer's Rift, and they really have not been too keen on facing a Brood today. This has been almost second phase ban for them permanently. So interesting call from them. Certainly, it seems it's just something they do not want to deal with, and understandable to say the least if you've ever played against a Broodmother. So we'll see how this draft progresses. It seems like Summer's Rift probably one of their weaker phases of the play is the draft phase itself rather than execution in game. They look like their communication is fairly sharp from what I've seen today and other days, and it's why I chose this team to follow. I feel like they're one of the teams that certainly would have been invited by Valve had they not had a roster change. So yeah, Miracle Chipmunk recently replaced by Dragon Fist in essence, because Brax is no longer playing the mid lane. He is now playing the off lane, and Dragon Fist is up in that mid lane. So a little bit of a roster shuffle and role shuffle coming out for this team. But yeah, BSJ and crew. Brax, Demon, Whitebeard, Dragon Fist looking to make it through here. They will ban out the Darkseer themselves. Certainly a strong laner. Definitely someone with the vacuum, able to get into the face of the Drow, often building into a blink. But more aggression, or at least map presence, going to be queued up early on for One Faith. They're going to pick up a Mirana here, maybe to secure that mid lane for the Invoker, who historically, especially out of the Quaz Wex configuration, is not the strongest laner. Quaz Exort a little bit easier to last hit with, of course. So if he does opt to go Quaz Wex, which I expect him to do in this matchup, he could use a little bit of help securing him some farm in that mid lane. And Mirana, certainly a hero with a propensity to do so. Dazzle going to be picked up here by Summer's Rift. The extra weave will certainly be nice. Not the biggest amount of physical damage coming out from One Faith just yet, but a lot of physical coming out from the Radiant, of course. So the weave going to be able to tick down the armor of the dire side. And hopefully for BSJ's sake, that could be enough for them. The Grave also very nice for the Drow Ranger. If she picks up a Mask of Madness, the extra little move speed, albeit nerfed recently, could give her enough to get out under a Grave and a Shadow Wave. Kunkka is going to be picked up here by One Faith. Very interesting pickup from them. Tornado EMP into Boat. Certainly nothing to shake a stick at. Very, very potent combo there. Also, of course, much like the Grave, the Boat going to keep up the team of One Faith in these engagements. Interesting to see what role this Kunkka plays here. The X-Torrent certainly does set up arrows. So could be a roaming Kunkka Mirana combo. But one of these has to be core, as the Wyvern is there. So at this point, since the Invoker is here, you may expect the Mirana, but it could of course be the Kunkka mid lane with the Invoker in the safe lane now. Summer's Rift are going to look to dissuade One Faith from going that Kunkka mid lane as they pick up the TA, who does very well against melee heroes historically, and especially versus those who have little to no tick damage. The Torrent has actually a couple instances of damage, if I recall correctly, so it's not a terrible way of dealing with the refraction charges, but certainly not a completely reliable way early on when you are going to need points in that Tidebringer, and therefore will not have points in the X. The X is more of kind of the support route of skill build, so Kunkka certainly could be a support with the Wyvern here. Mirana in the core role, and Invoker still up in that mid lane. Invoker, of course, doesn't have the greatest ways of dealing with those refraction charges either, unless he goes Quaz Exort. So TA, a very nice pickup for Summer's Rift here. Dragon Fist, a damn good TA. I would say it's one of his signature heroes even. So looking for a Brax hero for Summer's Rift. At this point, they're going to ban out the Storm Spirit away from One Faith. So actually still expecting perhaps a safe lane Invoker at this point. But the offlaner is going to come out for One Faith, and that's going to be the Clockwork. And this is going to be a very aggressive lineup from One Faith, very heavily reliant on Wombo combo. You've got the arrow into the cogs, the torrent into the cogs, the boat into the cogs, the EMP into the cogs, and of course a deafening blast to come out at some point. So to counter up this team fight heavy lineup, on the dire side, we're going to see a Phoenix come out for Brax XXXXXX into the off lane, and that could certainly be exactly what's needed here for the side of the Radiant. And something you'll notice as well, all 5 heroes, ranged heroes. Despite TA having a very gimp range, she is range, will benefit from that precision aura. So all 5 heroes very heavily towards that precision aura strat. So look for BSJ to go max Wraith bands early on, and get that agility up to help buff up his team. Either way, we do have a lobby for this one, so I can draw on the ground. How nice is that? Beautiful to be back. It is, folks. More please, your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster, HeflaTV2, BSJ, Brax, Demon, Whitebeard, and Dragonfist, Summers Rift, trying to make their way through this open qualifiers as they had the recent roster shuffle that rendered them disqualified from being able to have an invite for the TI5 invited qualifiers. And Demon, Cancer, Toxicity from Frost. Yeah, I knew I recognized Frost's name. Either way, Radiant side, BSJ picking up the Drow Ranger as he did a couple games ago. G-Easy or Demon Doto, Jimmy Ho picking up that Visage. In the mid lane, we've got My Name is Jeff, or Whitebeard picking up Dazzle, and that's going to leave Dragonfist on the TA. And finally, Brax, Sax, on the Phoenix. We're going to have on one Faith side, the Winter Wyvern picked up by our friend with the name I cannot read. We got T-Dag picking up the Kunkka with the fresh looking Shadow Blade and Mohawk. Potato Smash on the Invoker. And it's going to be Frost on the Mirana. Looks like support Mirana with the itemization and a mid lane Kunkka at this point. Off lane, we will see IMG picking up the Clockwork. And with a Mango early on. Is the only person in the game with a Mango? Alright, so it looks like Summers Rift lost. They didn't pick up a Mango. And Dire Side does have one. Feel like this ward was scouted here by Whitebeard. But it is dropped for now to give some information over to Kunkka in the mid lane. Fraction going to be dropped. Mid lane, Whitebeard. Going to be a little annoying, but not going to do much. Arctic Burn skilled up early. Can drop the refraction charges. So that's something unmentioned. And Shadow Wave going to be there. Looks like it's almost a dual lane at this point from both sides in the mid lane. Could be very interesting. Top lane Brax on the Phoenix up against the Invoker and the Mirana. And it's going to be an Exord Invoker. So what do I know? Torrent going to be dropped mid lane. It is going to land. Shadow Wave going to be there preemptively almost onto Dragonfist, and he'll be just fine. Frost going to look to rotate around with the Icarus Dive. I highly doubt they're able to kill off this Phoenix. Cold Snap into a long-range arrow is a very remote possibility for their ability to do so. Frost certainly a capable player, but it's going to be tough to kill off this Phoenix. I think he'll have a good time. Speaking of his counterpart, IMG on the Clockwork. Dazzle, Drow Ranger, and of course the Visage. Pretty damn strong lane. So Clock needs to be careful already. We're going to see some rotation around. Frost Arrow skilled up by BSJ. And this is a dead Clockwork. BSJ even going to secure the last as well. First blood. Going Summer's Rift way in this round of 16. And looking good for them early on. X, Torrent, channeled up mid lane. Arrow comes through as well. Sunstrike is there. And the TA going to drop. Dragonfist takes a spill. Mid lane and the TP a little bit too late. Even though the grave was there for Whitebeard. Also, range on that level 1 shallow grave, very, very short. So probably wouldn't have gotten it off even if he gets that TP off about a half second earlier. Nice return kill going one Faith's way. Very good synergy of abilities coming out from them. X-Torrent into the arrow and the Sunstrike is enough to bring down that TA. Early point in X. Second early point in X coming out for T-Dag here. And interesting call from him. Lots to set up, of course. As we mentioned in the draft, tons of Wombo here. The Cogs and the X going to be doing a lot of work to set up the Mirana, the Invoker. And we will see some Fire Spirits being thrown out top lane. And the Wyvern getting very low here. He's actually going to drop to the burn. Brax playing on the edge. Very nice. He is going to pick up a kill. Needs to get over to salve up. He is going to dodge that Sunstrike. Is able to salve up and keep himself alive. He's looking at TP out. Potato Smash. Too late to find him. Very well played by Brax. Over in his new home in the offlane for Summer's Rift. He'll find a kill. And he'll be able to dodge a death. So, big play for Brax. He picks up his Tranquils off of that. And should be able to sustain himself in lane hereafter because of it. Double damage up onto T-Dag. And trying to put some harass over into this TA, but Whitebeard and all of Summer's Rift committing a lot to ensure that this TA has a good time. Dragon Fist can look to get out of control, and when BSJ was on his drow 2 games ago, they had Dragon Fist on the TA as well, and Dragon Fist was certainly the one to actually kind of put them over the edge. BSJ didn't have the greatest of games on his Drow, so salving up bot lane already with the treads and the Wraithband, 23 CS to the Drow Ranger, to the 17 of his laning equivalent in Potato Smash's Invoker. So doing well. Phoenix has been able to disrupt up some farm, it seems, with the Fire Spirits, slowing that attack speed. Arctic Burn going to come out from the Wyvern. Nothing much else comes of it. And some scouting happening bot lane. Dire Vision does not see the supports. Very limited Dire Vision, except for in this mid lane where there are overlapping wards. Torrent is going to land. It does seem like it's only one damage instance at this point. Maybe a couple from that Torrent. Bringing down the Refraction to 1 charge. And Whitebeard going to rotate in. Psionic Trap's not available just yet, so they can't really get aggressive on this Kunkka too hard. Meanwhile, everything looking pretty stagnant in this early game. 4 minutes, almost 5 into the game. 2-1 is your score. BSJ farming very well on the draw. And maybe looking to go on to IMG. Grave Chill comes out as well from Demon. He's going to look to TP out. Will the Soul Assumption be enough? It will not. Going to fly through. But IMG more than healthy enough. It is going to force him back into the fountain though. From Demon. And BSJ, of course, on the Drow Ranger, has certainly a very good innate ability to push these towers. Leveling up that Precision Aura, level 3 already. Has the 1 point in the Frost Arrows. And it has netted him a kill early on. But they'll take about a quarter away of this tower's HP. And nothing too worrisome for the dire side. 1 Faith. Still looking pretty good right now. Winter Wyvern. A little bit underleveled maybe, but all the supports at about the same point. The only one with a little more level is Demon right now. Sitting up at level 4 on his Visage. And top lane, they are going to catch the Cold Snap, but Sunstrike not going to be there with the Icarus Dive. Arctic Burn is ticking Brax pretty low, though. One last right click will be enough coming out from Potato Smash. And finally, the nuisance that is the Brax Phoenix will be brought down. 2-2 is your score. Cogs are going to be popped there, but BSJ going to have an easy kill onto IMG. Soul Assumption will be there as the nail in the coffin. Wyvern going to TP in. It's a little bit late. Had the Cold Embrace ready if he did TP in, but not able to do so. A little bit of banter between the players here. BSJ bringing down the Clockwork for the second time in this one. Psionic Trap's now available for the TA. Boat as well for the Kunkka. Both simultaneous level 6s picked up there. Potato Smash level 6 as well. Did opt for the Exort build here. We'll see how well this does. Of course, it's a little bit better versus the TA. And it does seem like they have some sort of global presence with the Hookshot and the Sunstrike. So, not the worst decision. I would have expected Quaswex versus a Drow, but not the worst decision by any means. Frost. Going to do some scouting up on the cliff, but Radiant Vision, well aware of his positioning, and therefore he's not going to be able to get a kill anytime soon. Barring a very, very nice arrow. Icarus Dive back force from Brax. He's going to dodge the Sunstrike. But Frost rotating in with the arrow. He's going to guess wrong. Brax will be just fine. Healed up with his Tranquil Boots. Rocket actually flying through. And is going to be south of the Phoenix. Brax is just fine. Familiar's already up for Demon here. Just summoned. And this is going to be a very big annoyance. They've actually given him some space by his Lonesome to farm here. BSJ up in the jungle, along with his Dazzle. Did pick up the Morbid Mask, so can farm just fine. Banner Rune going to be secured bot lane by the Kunkka. Double damage secured by Dragon Fist here. And can look to start to get active. Just picked up the Phase Boots. So hitting pretty hard on the TA with the Refraction up is Dragon Fist. Courier to bring out just a Band of Elvenskin. So it looks like to be a Yasha. Next for BSJ. But the Precision Aura really doing work, it seems, early on. TA 45 last hits to the 32 of the Kunkka. BSJ 61 last hits to the 37 of the Invoker. They've given Frost some space in this lane, but that also gives Brax some space, and he's got the Supernova available as well. Demon getting some space, so a lot of supports being given time to farm. And I feel like the Dire are getting the better end of that trade. Invoker, not the quickest jungler, even with the Forge Spirits. Is going to pick up the Midas, this Potato Smash, but it's not going to be the quickest Midas. Still about 50 gold away. 9 minutes in. Out of your safe lane is not what you want to see.
Homing in.
Mid lane. Whitebeard getting a little bit of space as well. Trying to find that level 6. Does have the 023 build right now, so a little bit of extra range on the Grave. Wrapping is the Clockwork, and he's been caught out completely out of position. He's even going to trap himself in. One last right click from BSJ. Won't be there with the vision. He's able to hook away to his Wyvern. Doesn't have the Cold Embrace available to him as well. Dive forward, though, from Brax. Is going to hit onto 2. Fire Spirits will be there as well. IMG going to go down. The Wyvern probably next to fall. Will get the Cold Embrace up, but with the Fire ticking him down, pretty much completely mitigated. Triple kill going the way of Brax's Phoenix, and he has been the absolute monster of this early game already in his lane. Level 8. The Clockwork, his counterpart, has fed over 3 deaths and is not even level 7 yet. And Brax looking very good for his team in his new home in the off lane. So things all looking swell. BSJ going to catch a very long range arrow, but he's got his 2 comrades in front of him, one with a Supernova. And very unlikely 1F jumping into that this early on. They did have the boat available, but Kunkka a little bit late to rotate in. Meanwhile, Jimmy, just farming to his heart's content, has picked up the medallion and has level 8. We'll take a look at this tower, and yeah, we're talking about a quarter HP left on this tower, completely unchecked by the Dire side. And with this wave coming in, with Cardi available, Glyph not even going to be used there by the Radiant. Easy tower going the way of the Visage. Should be a fairly early Ags for him if he opts to rush that after the medallion. 800 gold already, 11 minutes in, up on to Jimmy. BSJ going to be able to pop this smoke on the high ground, gets the gust off onto IMG. And the hook shot is going to have to be thrown now after the rocket flare, but the Dazzle's right behind BSJ, and now IMG's trapped himself into the cogs with the TA. Boat is going to come through and land onto 2. Grave is going to keep BSJ up. They're trying to fight against IMG, but the Cold Embrace keeps the Clockwork alive, and now the TA getting low as well. Dive forward, though, is here through Brax, and everyone taking so low to the Fire Spirits. Torrent's going to be there onto the Phoenix, but the Kunkka falls. The arrow's nicely shot by Frost on the back lines, and he's sitting here with IMG. My name is Jeff, or Whitebeard, not going to find him. IMG, though, no TP available, is going to die to the Dazzle. And overall, it's going to be a 3 for 2. That Grave keeping up BSJ for a long time, allowing Brax to do some work and get everyone pretty low. Also, the Invoker only committing a Sunstrike to that fight, whereas we did have all 5 members of the Radiant there. So overall, ends up being a 3 for 2. And the Phoenix going down, as well as the Drow Ranger. 3 going down on 1F side. They don't lose their Invoker, who is farming off to the side, but they may lose their tier 1 here. They're going to glyph it up, and it is in deny range. So carefully so, the Dire should be able to deny this. Although with the refraction charges, yeah, they're going to secure this last hit. BSJ even picks it up. Boat Torrent, or X Torrent, is there. And the Dust is going to be popped as well. They're going to have some mana burned, and the Splinter will be there onto Dragon Fist, but he'll be just fine, and they get the tower. Not much committed. So Summer's Rift looking really strong right now. Brax picked up his full mech out of the offlane, 12 minutes in. Looking swell for Summer's Rift. And almost looking like a different team in this game than they did last game. Looked a little bit confused as to how they deal with that anti-mage of HFN, but here looking very coordinated, and each of their lanes doing well individually. Already there, Roshan going to be picked off, and Dragon Fist going to be given that Aegis. BSJ pretty close to his Yasha now, only about 100 gold away from it. And he'll have that fairly soon. Taking a look at the net worth. Over 5k has been amassed by both the Drow and the TA. Invoker nipping at their heels as well. Is picking up the Yules, it seems. with the Quasi Exort build. Set up his Sunstrikes, his Meatballs as well. BSJ was in a bit of a risky situation, but actually the Dire are going to guess wrong with their smoke. And they're not going to find anyone home here in the mid lane. Unfortunate. They still do have about 5 seconds on this smoke, but not willing to walk through that tier 2. And they're not going to find anyone. They will drop a sentry. Doesn't give them much vision though. No D ward comes of it as well. Haste Rune picked up by the Kunkka and thrown into his bottle. Good positioning from Summer's Rift. Nobody in lane. They're up in the top. And now mid lane going to be aggressed upon by the Dire side, and mass TPs coming through. IMG trying to cancel one. The arrow's going to land onto Demon. The cogs are also going to burn some mana away from the TA. So this will at least stifle some aggression from the Radiant side. Dive forward is not going to find anyone from Brax, and everyone going to be able to just back off from the Radiant side. Denial, though, going to be committed successfully. They do lose a bit of map control, although they already had their enemies mid tower, so things going to be evened up there. 9-4 is your score, 15 minutes in. Full Yasha up, as well as the Aegis for Dragonfist. Aegis still available for 3 minutes here. Psionic Trap's going to be thrown on the high ground. Torrent is going to land on one. Just the TA. Splinter coming through as well from the Wyvern. Mech and the Shadow Wave going to keep everyone healthy. Glyph going to be popped here. Invoker is rotating in from the west. And the Radiant are well aware of it with this ward. This ward spotted him out briefly. So they do know that they are short-handed, is the Dire side here. Familiar's going to look to scout one out. Don't have really the greatest initiation. I mean, they have the Icarus dive, but no initiation into disable for the Dire side. They will take this tower, though, with relative ease. Jump back, reset, wait for the wave, and take the tower, knowing the positioning of the Invoker. Very safe and intelligent play coming out from Summer's Rift. The Bracer picked up onto BSJ. Seems to be a casual one. Maybe a Drum coming out. Yep, Drum. Going to be coming out for BSJ, and with the attack speed buffs, that's very nice for the TA and the Drow in these engagements, especially with that precision aura up. Yule's going to be completed for the Invoker on top of his Midas. He's level 11 now, so you take a look at hero levels. He is topping the board. Still, though, needs to start getting involved. Has opted for that 1 point into Wex. Does now have the Deafening Blast. Be nice to see that max level Deafening Blast in this one, although a lot of these games in 6.8.4 haven't really gotten to the point of seeing max hero levels. So we'll see if that's the case here. Summer's Rift playing seemingly very conservative in this one, as they should. TI hopes on the line.
And it's off.
IMG with Dust in tow. I'm going to throw out a Rocket Flare looking for a hook, but once again, very well positioned from Summer's Rift. They see everyone off the map. They ball up. They push the tower. And positioning is good from the Dazzle more often than not.
Boom, there it goes.
As well as Brax, who can jump in with that dive into the Fire Spirits and the Supernova. And they're going to look for 2 towers here, as Potato Smash and his crew are a little bit late to convene around this tier 1. They're playing very patiently, but their tier 2 is already dead top lane, and with the Aegis, they don't want to fight, but Summer's Rift don't seem to have any reason to stop. They've got the mech available to them, and they are going to start top lane. Splinter Blast is going to be out there, but they're going to get a free tier 3 here with this Precision Aura active, and the Familiars. The Glyph's going to be popped late and actually does nothing. Moonlight Shadow is going to be popped. They're not going to catch any stragglers with an X, though. And easy cat cut for Summer's Rift. Smart play from them. Seeing only that Invoker pushing bot lane. No one else on the map. They still know they can take an engagement. BKB going to come out soon as well. Or if not Deso. Deso coming out for the TA. And that'll accelerate the push all the more. Grave Chill. Just going to be for some extra MS for Demon. Weave has been popped preemptively, it seems. Oh, just a medallion. And the Weave as well. And this range rack's getting very low. and actually drops down. The Yule Scepter, though, deafening blast, meatball out onto Brax. It's going to force out his Supernova, but no one's in position to right-click the egg, and everyone having to retreat now. Meld Strike is going to be there, and the Clockwork brought down. The boat is going to fly through and does hit on one. That's only the TA, though, who has the Aegis and gets graved up. Actually, the Aegis just expired, so they're going to have to force out Dragon Sip, but the Medallion doing so much work against the Kunkka. The Icarus dive from Brax going to be completely on point to finish him off. Potato Smash next to fall. Brax been beasting on this Phoenix. And very smart play from Summer's Rift. They commit little to nothing. Pop that weave, throw the familiars up high ground, get the range racks, force a reaction. That's exactly what you want to do with this kind of lineup, is force your team or your enemy team to fight into you, and then look to re-engage with the Phoenix. And very very well done by Summer's Rift here. And now they've amassed the top 3 on net worth, including Demon, who has his Aghanim Scepter after the big bounties from those Raxes that were now included in 684. So 19 minutes in. You ever get that Compendium challenge? Destroy a Rax before 20 minutes? Easy for Summer's Rift here with the Drow Visage lineup. And they're showing some flexibility after being certainly criticized for being a little bit limited. BSJ kind of has added that Drow to his hero pool here. So we're looking at 6 or 7 heroes now that BSJ can play very well. And he's picked up the full Yasha and the H-Dom, 1900 gold in his pockets. Full Deso, as we saw, coming out for this TA. Guardian's Greaves now available to the Phoenix as well. Wonderful item on the Phoenix. And Brax doing super well. Demon quietly as well. Been very effective for Summer's Rift. Double damage rune picked up by the TA, and that is a scary one. No blink, of course, yet for Dragon Fist, but if he gets in someone's face with a DD rune, Meld Strike equals death. Even with this Cold Embrace. Don't know if they can react in time. Either way, they'll be on the back foot, Cold Embrace or not. 12-4 is your score. 20 minutes in. Guardian's Grave going to be pop bot lane, and everyone except BSJ has grouped up around this bottom tower. Shadow Wave keeping everyone healthy. Once again, Whitebeard very well positioned, as he has been all game. Max levels in that grave. Nothing in the Poison Touch. Not needed. Just give me that range on the grave and let me save my cores and let them do work. Not enough right click as well on 1F, and which makes Visage, and then right click, I mean, in terms of attack speed. Smoke up though from the Radiant side. Moonlight Shadow as well. They're gonna look to find someone. It looks like Summer's Rift are pretty well aware of this though. Brax up in the front lines. They are gonna drop the X. The Rocket Flare will be there. The boat is there and the arrow, but the boat actually gonna whiff because of the Deafening Blast. The Supernova gonna be popped. Everyone turning tail and running. So unfortunate for the Dire side. The Deafening Blast hits, and GG actually called here, as they're going to Yules up defensively. Potato Smash, and they're going to find this ugly Wyvern in the trees and try and corner him in and bully him up. But either way, very well played from Brax in that one. Altogether, Summer's Rift looking super solid. We've been chronicling their journey through the Face It Open qualifiers all day. This is their 3rd win in a row for Summer's Rift. We'll have the next ones coming up soon as well for you guys. So be sure to stay tuned here on HeflaTV 2 and appreciate your support. As always, I'm Morge, please, your resident Canadian Dota 2 caster. If you enjoyed the cast, you can follow me over at MRP_Dota on Twitter. If not, flame me in Twitch chat. We'll be back with the next game for Summer's Rift coming up fairly soon.